Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Just Enough Heshy Show. ST's out today, and usually she announces it, so I'll be taking over for her. I hope she called in yesterday. Great call, and
Great call.
Neil was very impressed with her.
Where is she?
Intelligent. She's out sick. She wasn't feeling well. Anyways, Z, welcome back.
What's up, everybody?
We were supposed to have a special guest with us tonight, but we didn't have her. She got sick as well.
She's a comedian, right?
She's a comedian.
I think I can handle the load.
Okay,
I can
so
fill in
she's
for
gonna
her.
come on there also. But anyways, and of course, my voice of reason, the man who doesn't seem to understand sometimes what I'm thinking, but he is.
Nobody does.
True. Right.
Hey.
Hello, back, and thank you again, everybody, listening to the show. Now we're gonna start my show, of course, with the quote, and I think I picked a good one today, to start the show because I'm gonna tell a little quick story that you're gonna have a good.
Just tell me
about.
this.
Yeah.
Is it like no ticky, no washy?
No.
Is that the quote?
Listen to the quote. A grateful heart is a beginning of greatness. It is an expression of humility. It is a foundation for the development of such virtues as prayer, faith, courage, contentment, happiness, love, and well-being. Be grateful. That's what it is. By being grateful, everything open. I know you're laughing at me, and I am
No,
grateful.
I wonder, was it 3 shots or 4 shots when the guy wrote this? Like, where was he up to?
We're grateful to you. We're grateful to you.
Anyways, I want to tell you a quick funny story. I usually say a joke, but I was reading this in the paper. You're going to freak out on this. An airplane had to be, you're going to love this, a Southwest Airlines flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco had to turn back after a male passenger was allegedly choking a female passenger because she could recline her seat too much.
I support him 100%.
The angry man was hauled away and questioned by the FBI.
No, I don't understand. I really don't.
Which part don't you understand?
The seats are set up to go back. Finished. I don't understand. That's what I'm paying for.
Right.
I'm paying for a seat that goes back. You want to sell me a seat that doesn't and put in a little screw that you can't push it back? Go ahead.
They go back like 2 inches now anyway. It's
But it
not like
doesn't
the guys
matter.
in the
But
left.
listen, I know when someone's in front of me and they lean back, it does cramp my feet.
If the seat is broken, maybe she went too far and she abused her privilege.
But I don't believe she abused her privilege. I believe that this guy just thinks he gets whatever he wants. And they should lock him up for 40 days or something.
Wow.
Or they should make him in a seat that doesn't recline. He has to fly all day and all night for the next couple of weeks.
Nah, the seats recline like 2 inches these days anyway. It's not like it's such a big deal.
Anyways, I want to just tell you.
But
what's
do
something
they
that
have
happened?
a right or don't they have
Of course you have a right. If it's there, you're allowed to use it. Why wouldn't
Okay,
it be?
so
100%.
that guy is wrong. Finished.
Again, you don't know the real story. You understand?
What's the real story? That really she leaned her seat forward and he wasn't happy because his meal fell on the floor or something? Like, what's the real story?
That could happen.
Okay.
In the old days, today they don't serve
but
food.
either way, that's something you don't get crazy about it. Anyways, Green Line Building Solutions, please call 718-871-0382. We do HPD, building violations, stop work orders, plans, permits, expediting, as well as HPD violations and help you with code compliance inspections. Again, we went around today.
Just amazing people.
Amazing. We show you how to do it right. One of the guys was screaming at me today. He says, I don't understand. This is the way it is. I didn't get in trouble before. I said, listen, you have me here. This is what has to be done. You might get away with it, but this is what has to be done. Either you're going to listen to me or not. I mean, what do you want me to do with you? He says, okay, I'll do what you say.
But why is he paying you if he's not going to listen?
Exactly.
I don't understand these people.
What are you complaining about? You got paid and he doesn't have to listen.
The point is to make sure that it works. That's what you have to do.
He doesn't want the guy coming back in a year with the same issue.
Exactly.
It's a different issue.
So he'll charge him again next year.
Anyways, no, we don't do that. And don't forget my favorite.
We take it all up.
My favorite cleaners, Mr. Clean. You can get him at mrcleandelivers@gmail.com or Neil, you could call 347-369-3051. Again, 347-369-3051. He picks up, he delivers, you get 25% off. Just
and Uncle Heshy's been saying that lately he's been using him, and the guy is just.
Your shirts look super clean.
Forget this super, but he hangs them up. He delivers them. He picks them up.
He hangs them up.
Yeah.
Into his house and
not the house, the office. He drops it off in the closet. But he comes. You know what? You're making fun.
I'm not making fun.
Okay.
This is like Manhattan Services.
Right. I think I was reading today. Starbucks started to deliver only if it's to an office building and you have a reception
order,
area.
I'm assuming, yeah.
But they drop off, deliver to the front desk one shot, and you have to get the whole place.
Right, because
you
know a lot of offices, the people are just waiting online a half hour before they go up to work to get a coffee.
And they get this delivered.
And here they make it a time every day.
But that's wonderful.
Show up 9:05. We want 30 cups of coffee.
That's right.
All we need is Dunkin' Donuts to deliver, and there'll be a lot of happy people.
Dunkin' Donuts is very good.
Dunkin' Donuts should deliver.
Very good.
How about a soup delivery for the winter? But not only to your house, like into your bed.
Yeah,
a little bit too much.
Okay.
But anyway,
I like the soup idea.
The soup, right?
Is a very big money
in the winter. Boom!
It's very profitable, and you come. What they have like the soup Nazi.
Well, they have Uber, like so just make a super and just have them drive around with soup everywhere they go. Every time they pick people up,
it's amazing, and people love.
It's a genius idea.
And, you know, in Park Slope, they opened last year or 2 years ago, like just soups, and they have like
no soup
varieties. Always a new variety. Every week they switch like 4 of them.
But is it a kosher place?
No,
I don't know.
But the best soup in New York, I can tell you where they got the kosher.
Where?
If you want.
Where?
At Essen. They make the gumbo. Remember? That's like
all their soups seem to be pretty good.
For that gumbo in the winter. But anyway,
when you
it's October. Let's not think winter thoughts yet.
My coat is on.
Let's not think. Is your heat on in your apartment?
It was last night, but now it went back up. Listen, before we get to anything, I just wanted, I had something that was on my mind that really bothered me this week, and I wanted to just get it out in my system before we get to all the other things that bothered me this week. But something that really, really upset me.
I've been watching your Facebook.
Yes, I
wow, you are.
I have a lot to say.
A lot to say. I sometimes comment just to be, be nice.
To be looped in.
But lately, I wasn't sure which way to go, so I just like. This way, I don't.
It's nonpartisan, exactly. So something that really bothered me. I'm sure most of you out there know already. This whole story with Lamar Odom, right? He was a basketball player, and he was found barely alive,
married to a very rich person,
barely alive, found in a brothel in Las Vegas with a lot of
illegal brothel.
It shouldn't be legal.
Well, hold on, before we get to this discussion.
Okay.
Let me just tell you what upset me. So this is a millionaire who decided, to take.
He was
right.
Okay, so he decided this is what he's going to do. He made a conscious decision. He's going to go there. He's going to do all these drugs. He's basically going to have, a good week. Exactly. Meanwhile, the media is literally updating us every hour. His condition, this, that. Some guy that purposely did drugs and went into a brothel.
He made a mistake.
Meanwhile,
he made a mistake.
Fine.
Meanwhile,
we have much more important people. We have the people that were injured. We have people that are hurt in Iraq or in the battlefield. Or we had this guy that was hurt in the terror attack a couple weeks ago. We have the guy that stopped the school shooting. We had the guy that was hurt in the school shooting that should have been a hero.
Right.
Nobody cares about his condition. Nobody cares how he's doing. But Lamar Odom, the guy who decided he's going to go and have sex with 20 hookers at once with cocaine in his system, this is important that we need to know every hour how is he progressing, because my life really is enriched by knowing what this guy did.
Because he has to know that you don't get 20 curves when you do cocaine. You only get 10.
Yeah. And of course, because he used to be married to Kardashian.
I you guys well. I told you well.
Because he used to be married to Kardashian. So of course, right. So now they had to poke their nose into it. They want to get their hoary faces all over the paper again because they weren't famous enough already for doing nothing. So now they have to go and get involved, and it turned into a whole media like anybody really gives a crap how Lamar Odom is doing. Oh, is he breathing today? Is he making recovery?
We don't want to.
We should care about him.
So what's with the Kardashians and colored people? They're really into them.
There's plenty of jokes been made about that already. But
God! No, I'm not looking for jokes. No, it's true.
It's true. It's true. Well, not all of them. One of them listen, thank God I know very little about them.
Listen to me. But people marry, they marry for love, and if they fall in love with somebody.
And big fat tuchuses, and everybody's so turned on. Okay. 20 years ago, if you had a tuchus like that, they would put a cup of coffee on it. And now, all of a sudden, it's like the sexiest thing in the world is to have a big tuchus. I don't understand.
I've always been on that side of the fence, but let's not go into that.
But we're not looking for your personal.
The point is that why is this in the front. Who cares?
We don't want him to die. We feel bad for him.
But why should we care more about what this guy did and the fact that the guy got shot up in a school shooting, was a hero, tried to save people's lives? We haven't heard about how he's doing for weeks. We care about this guy that passed out because he was doing cocaine with a bunch of hookers. We need to know an hourly update on his condition. Like anybody
because
gives a flying crap.
A hero, right?
A hero for what?
In sports.
In sports, no.
Lamar Odom?
He's not.
He hasn't been relevant in 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't know. It really bothered me.
It must be a slow news time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It just really could be the Bunny Ranch guy is pushing it, so he's getting free commercials.
But the point is that Bunny Ranch should be closed down.
Why?
Because it's illegal to do this stuff.
What's wrong with you? The law says it's legal. And you want to stand there and say it's not legal?
But you all tell me the Bible says it's not allowed.
I'm not asking you with your Bible. This is a government.
Government cannot overrule God.
Really?
Where does it say that prostitution is
just
not...
the opposite, by the way. In our in the Orthodox religion, we believe that we're supposed to make decisions here on earth, and God just leaves us.
So you're telling me that now that, according to you, that since the courts down here rule gay marriage is legal, whether they accept it or not, so it's legal now by God?
Not by God, but it's legal.
Okay.
See, we're getting into different debates.
It's not up in the sky. Decisions that have to do with people and
God said we can't mix milk and meat, but it doesn't mean that other people can't mix meat and milk. These are two different things.
And by
these
the way,
are religious
it's only
debates
cooked together.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay, you can put the cheese.
Whatever. Anyways,
on top of the burger, you can put the cheese.
I personally.
I
agree with you.
No,
whatever. The rabbis really screwed us with that one, huh? I agree with you, but I personally think that there's no reason why prostitution shouldn't be legal.
Oh God!
But that's a whole nother story.
It's not.
I don't get it at all.
It should be like anything else.
It should be like anything else.
You massage my feet. You give me a haircut.
Exactly.
You do this. You get paid.
What is the difference? If somebody wants to do that, let them. If somebody wants to pay them to do that, let them. What is the problem?
Right.
It's not the most moral job, but
it's hurting the economy that we make it a problem.
Wow. 718-303-9090. I got to hear from you people about this. 718-303-9090.
No, they don't want to talk to you about it because you always just then go back to God. God this, God that.
No. I don't believe that.
Why don't you and Jeremiah Wright get together and God damn this country? You know?
So why would it only be legal in one state?
Right, because
I don't get this country that some things are legal here and not. It's just the weirdest thing to me.
No, that's the beauty of states.
It's not the beauty of states.
It's supposed to be the beauty of states.
Yeah, when it comes to the gay marriage, that's overriding universal. But when it comes to everything else, that's the whole thing. You know?
No, it is up to the state.
Not with the gay marriage.
Sure it is.
No, it wasn't. That was the whole point. There was universal
they lose different funding. They lose different if they don't go for it.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
No, that was the whole thing. The Supreme Court said every state, boom. That was over.
Somebody woke me up for that one.
That was months ago. Hello.
I know.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's what I've always maintained. But
okay. Fine. Well, listen to me. I feel bad for the guy. I hope everything works out. Can I ask you a question?
We feel bad for all sick people.
Right. But Neil, I want to ask you a question. You know,
only if nothing to do with God.
Nothing to do with God. It's politics. Okay, I'll get to the big politics with Trump and all that.
Okay, you can touch on it.
By the way, there's one of the guys, this guy Jim Webb, one of the Democratic contenders for president, dropped out of the race now. He might consider an independent run, but right now
the guy has $4.
He had less than 1% of the vote. So, and he dropped out of the race. So this guy Jim Webb, he is, if I am correctly, I was reading it today. He was a former Virginia senator, and he's on the Democratic race. So it was a Virginia senator. So he's out of the race. So he was somebody special. I didn't even hear of him before. So, anyways, on the thing, did you hear about what's happening to Silver? The guy, the doctor, I think his name is Dr. Taub. I'm not sure.
He is ratting on him.
He sent dozens of patients. He's going to tell them that something like that. So Silver, is he in trouble? But Silver says, don't be afraid. That's what he says. He says, don't worry. The truth is coming out. Don't worry about what's going on.
What does every criminal say? I didn't do it.
But you believe Silver? I believe Silver didn't do anything wrong. I was reading up a lot of this stuff.
You know what? I agree with you.
He was a bully. That's
Today
all. He was
in politics, taking bribes and having lobbyists. Excuse me, I'm putting a list together.
Right.
Or having lobbyists and attorneys and this and that is the norm.
Well, you
and I don't mean Norm who calls in, who thinks that the whole world is full of this is the way the world is now, and it's not going to change because Norman wants it to change.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandler. Okay, what's his name? Sandler, right? The guy running the Communist and the Democratic Party. Sanders.
He's right.
Oh, right.
Bernie.
Sanders. You know,
talking about Adam Sandler. I don't know what you're talking about.
He thinks that guy is going to like somehow change everybody. He's going to walk into the room and say, "Okay, we're going to have to tax the rich another % or 2, and blah blah blah," and that's it. And the world's problems are over because he's of the school of thought that the more money you throw at an issue, for sure you're going to take care of it. And we know, anyone who knows what happens with the Board of Education knows that throughout the last 25 years, it went up from like 7,000 a kid to 20,000 in New York per child. Could you imagine? Public school per child.
Yeah, per kid.
But you know what the problem is? That half of that money is going for some guy in an office to move the file from here to here. And some guy doing something else, but not teaching, not giving them an education in computers or sciences and stuff that will work their brain properly.
Huh.
It's terrible. They're just a babysitting service.
I know.
That's what they are.
That's what the government is in general.
Okay, right, well, they're not supposed to be.
But look at the amount of money in essence on a child a year. You're spending what, $20,000 a year, let's say, average on a kid's education.
Yeah, it depends how much the price rips you off.
But the point is, 20 grand a year on the average from public school to private sector.
No, but we pay both.
I got that. Doesn't make a difference. I'm giving you the average. So 20,000. What do you got? Break it down by hours. They go what is it? 30.
8 to 3.
8 to 3.
And
go ahead.
And that's half hour early. They have
doesn't
lunch.
Make a difference, but they have lunch. You have after school program. But let's go 8 to 3 if you even want to go 8 to 5. But let's just say 8 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a 7-hour day. Is that correct?
Go ahead.
7 hours. 7 times 5. 35. What do you think it costs to babysit a kid a week? $10 an hour? Is that fair?
Yeah, but then you go to a group, I think it comes out less because you're
but you're giving more services. You're feeding them. You're doing something like
less, that. I said.
So, anyways, $10. So $10 an hour. Okay, $350. Say bonus is $400 a week per kid. Okay, now let's figure it out. $400 a week. Just if you go with 40 weeks. At $16,000 just in babysitting fees.
Yeah, but you could have more than one kid with one sitter.
It doesn't work. I'm giving you $10 is the cheapest already.
Right, I'm saying you could put more than one kid with one sitter. It doesn't have to be one kid.
That's why
there's little play groups on the roof of the.
That's why we reduced the price to $10 an hour. Normally, a babysitter today, to what I understand, gets between $15 and $20 an hour.
Really, I'm in.
Yeah.
No, that's those that comment.
I got you. And what about tutors and the tutors that come to your house?
They get $60.
$60 an hour. So you're looking at these kids are being babysat and they're being taught something. You are not paying. You're not overpaying. $16,000.
Why? Because they don't learn anything, so you're not overpaying.
It's not that they're not learning anything. That is the objective.
You are
That's
really
the beauty
sick.
Of school.
That's why you like
kindness.
Hillary. That's why you love the unions, and that's why you love the cops.
Really, Hillary? That's why I love Hillary. Right. Hillary doesn't deserve it. Back to my conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
She doesn't deserve it.
She doesn't deserve anything. She's a lying, thieving bitch.
And she cost people lives. Don't forget that.
And
what did she cause live? Benghazi?
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Secretary of State, 4 years.
You think that's the only mistake she made? Libya wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't an accidental mistake. It was a stupid mistake. There's difference.
Libya, she left the country. She had no choice to let them go crazy.
When people say Benghazi, they're talking about our 4 diplomats that were there were killed.
Correct.
They're not talking about the whole Libya.
I know
that is now in turmoil.
You know what? I think she gets credit for for supporting them when they were fighting the Libyan government. She helped get the
You're
guns.
Crazy.
Whatever.
So I tell you what. When you get up to heaven with her, go thank her personally. Okay,
and go up to
she'll
heaven.
be right by the door of hell number 1.
You know what?
Okay,
I'll see her there.
If not for that civil unrest that were there and getting rid of Gaddafi, they would have had ISIS. There's no ISIS in Libya.
Well,
by the way,
there was just a major election yesterday.
They have different.
We should talk about that actually.
One minute, but ISIS is calling now for this bloodshed in Israel.
Oh, no way! Yeah. ISIS doesn't like the Jews either. No way! This is news.
You're kidding.
This is news.
I thought we can have coffee and work it out.
Okay, ISIS is a bunch of wackos. Okay, and you know what? I want to show you a funny picture. I'm going to show it to my boys here. They have now that the Al-Qaeda is accepting dwarfs, midgets.
Well,
show it to the camera. I don't know if
they're going to be able to see, but Al-Qaeda, they're getting small dwarfs to join them.
What's the point of this? They can infiltrate into small little whatever. But anyway, you don't know what happened yesterday up in Canada?
No.
What, the election?
Yeah.
What's that noise?
It's a car alarm.
There's a car alarm.
It's big news. I don't know if you know. One of the most vocal supporters in the whole world, I would say, believe it or not, much more than Obama we could ever dream about. One of the most vocal pro-Israel supporters and somebody who's not afraid to speak up about the reality, what's happening in the Middle East. Stephen Harper, who is a real friend of Israel and a friend of sanity, in my opinion, he was voted out for a guy who has almost no political experience whatsoever, who's a super liberal. And his first order of business would be to take away all the soldiers that are fighting against ISIS and to reopen the lines of talking with Iran and Iraq. That's the new president of Canada.
Yeah,
which I find pretty disturbing.
I find he's in lockstep with Obama.
Well, I'm saying and Harper was always like the one guy that we could count on to always.
He was like the British.
He always said it was a huge friend. Whenever the State Department would say something about how.
Try when you talk not to bother Uncle Heshy. Okay, because he's
busy over there.
He's very busy.
No, but
I'm not very busy. I was looking at one of the tweets that
whenever anything happens in the Middle East, Obama's always like, well, both sides have to kind of calm down on what they're doing because he's, God forbid, he's allowed to say the truth. Exactly, he's not allowed to actually say what's happening. Harper says we condemn what the Palestinians are doing and we stand with Israel. Obama would never say anything like that.
You said in one of your quotes in the last week or two something about you got to pick a side and you got to do.
But you got to pick a side. That means pick yourself to be on a side.
No, because then it makes it sound like they're both equally responsible for innocent people getting stabbed. Somehow it's Israel's fault that random people are going into malls and shooting up what happened a couple of days ago, the bus station in Israel. And this guy ran in and grabbed a gun and just started shooting people. Somehow it's Israel's fault because of some rumor that never even really happened.
So
that's
more
equivalency.
Walls?
Yeah.
You see how fast where they just put up a wall?
One of those villages over there. Yeah, where
it took them it was like a week, and they had the whole thing up, and
they don't even have Mexicans there.
I want to ask you guys.
The Arabs are building a wall for themselves.
You see how busy you guys always talk about the Palestinians killing the Israelis and so on and so forth.
Every so often.
Now, what about the 97 people that were killed, or the 102 people that were killed in Turkey by the bombing over there?
Yeah, what about?
Yeah, there was a bombing there.
Yeah, who did it? The Americans?
Not the Americans.
They bombed a hospital by
ISIS
accident.
I think it was in a mall, wasn't it?
Oh, that.
And 97 people died, and nobody said anything about it. It was one news article one day, and it's all gone.
Because that's just another day in the world. Arabs killing each other.
97 compared to a few people in Israel, so that's more important?
It's not about more important. It's about what's considered more unusual and newsworthy. The fact that Arabs are blowing each other up, it's a daily occurrence. It's just another day in the life.
Assured that those Turkish people are going to take revenge, like real revenge.
I just don't get how anybody could see the world and see all the Arab countries and all the Arab people literally killing each other, and yet when they're fighting with Israel, people have the chutzpah to say, "Oh, it's probably Israel's fault." They can't even get along with each other. All they do is kill each other.
You know that Iran is opening up for tourism?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful place to visit.
Okay,
make sure to wear your yarmulke.
I know what you're so impressed with. They opening up for business.
It's going to be peace.
Peace with what?
Tourism always brings peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace to who? You have the leader of the country saying that they're going to destroy Israel. What peace?
Why am I not? Why don't answer?
Because tourism is just a little crack in the door. That's all.
To give them money. It doesn't mean they're going to change their outlook on life.
Changing anything. You're going to be directed where you're going to go when you come as a tourist.
Okay.
You're going to be
that's what it is.
Chaperoned.
We understand.
You're not going to see, like when you start touring Syria, they're not going to show you the neighborhoods that were gassed out by Assad.
Okay. You're going to go visit Iran? What do you want to see there?
I would never be able to.
What do you want to see there? Exactly. Why not? Because they're a bunch of racist scumbags. Israel would let in a Muslim, but we think a Muslim country would let in a Jew?
Well,
of course not. No, but Israel's the racist, right? Yeah.
But you have laws.
Who made the law?
Kuwaiti Airlines will not let you get on the plane.
Right, and I think that's why they want to stop.
And if it was the other way around, it would be an outrage.
No, I think they want to stop them from coming to America now.
No,
there's a big thing going on.
It's their prerogative.
No, it's not. Not if you want to come to America.
I don't know. Anyway,
there are rules.
There's another story that just came out of the Middle East, which also should really anger everybody that's listening. I don't know if you heard about this, but there has been a push recently in the UN. They have a division called the UNESCO, which is it's an arm of the UN that basically handles making different world historical sites and decides like which countries are in charge of them.
Oh, they're not the ones who go there and...
No, it stands for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, where they do... Anyway, what happened was the Arabs have put in a motion to the UN. You ready for this? You didn't hear about this? To declare the Western Wall as part of the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Can be.
It's already happened. They're actually voting on it tomorrow. I
can't believe
Let me just tell you something.
There's going to be a war again.
Exactly. First of all, the countries that actually matter know what's what. Okay, America already strongly renounced the whole idea, obviously, because they matter. But the point is that all this is going to do is incite further violence, but more importantly, the violence. It implants the idea in the minds of the Arabs that live there to make them think that Israelis are taking over their land, that the Western Wall is really part of their sovereign thing. The whole reason why this whole, stabbing thing has started is because they feel, we're restricting the Temple Mount from them and it's their property and we're just a bunch of, we came in and we stole their land. And that's the only reason why, they hate us so much is because it's the whole ideology is messed up. So the fact that they could even go and say that the Western Wall, which anybody that knows anything about history in the Bible, it says in the Bible a million times about the temple, the Jewish temple, way before the Quran has ever even existed. The fact that they could even think to say that, all it does is make the people who are uneducated think, well, the Israel stole another piece of their property, so they're justified to doing it. Exactly. Right. And it's going to just inflame not only in Israel, but the whole world. Anybody hearing this?
Yesterday that gave us a lot of information with Abbas and all that.
Right.
Because he's in a war with Hamas, really, and he was supposed to do another election.
Right.
A couple of years ago, he didn't do it. He's a dictator. And you know why, by the way?
Why?
Because you know how much money he steals a day?
Okay, that's his...
He steals it.
But could you imagine that they have the balls to say that the West
had billions of dollars?
Even non-Jews, even people around the world know that the Western Wall is like the Jewish, the holiest site that the Jews have in the entire world. And they're going to dare say that it's part of their mosque and that it's not ours?
Well, it's the Catholics also.
Could you believe that? Yeah. Can you believe that? And they actually are pushing it through to the UN. A bunch of Arab, because there's no official Palestinian,
and anyway,
government.
They don't like the Jews.
Other countries have pushed it through.
The UN wasn't set up for the Jews.
Thank God, the United States.
By the way, Palestine is a recognized entity, but it's not a voting member in the United Nations, or they can bring
lawsuits. Was just recent, right?
Right, just recent. So they're not voting, whatever.
I have a change of venue, please.
Yeah.
I have a caller I want to take right now, so he doesn't tell me that he had to wait a long time.
Fine, but I want, before you take the caller, 718-303-9090. You're listening to the Just Enough Heshy show. You can watch us on Just Enough Heshy.
And you know he's going to try to rip me a new hole, but don't worry.
Okay, you can get us on YouTube, Just Enough Heshy. You can email us at justenoughheshy@gmail.com.
Thank God. No, the U.S. State Department.
And you can get us on Facebook, Just Enough Heshy on Facebook. Don't forget to call Mr. Clean, 347-369-3051.
Is that bald guy on the
He's not bald. No. He's a good-looking boy. 347-369.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say 347-369-3051. He picks up and delivers. Get 25% discount when you mention our show. He really does a good job. And don't forget to call Green Line Building Solutions. I'm sure you all have some kind of building violations, sanitation violations, default violations. We can handle it all. We can clean up your C of O. You never know when you need refinancing and stuff. So be ready to check up all your violations.
All your basement violations.
Basement violations, up to code compliance stuff. We also help architects and contractors. We do plans, permits, violations, of course, and code compliance.
And we care.
718. Very good. Thank you.
At least the State Department has the brain enough.
Let me give the phone number: 718-871-0382.
They said not only is are they going to vote against it, but they're actually saying this is just going to inflame. They literally said those are the words that they say. This is going to further incite and inflame tensions in a volatile region, and how dare they do it? Basically,
the last 4 or 5 head directors of the CIA came out with books all saying that Obama's on the wrong track. Could you imagine? These are people that know the whole inside story.
The second that little Muslim boy with his clock.
They don't know the whole inside story. Yeah. They know most of it, okay?
The second that Muslim boy with his clock, he became a hero. He got invited to the thing.
You want to take his call?
Sure.
Push the button, Z.
We got Norman over there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Normano, what's
Neil,
up?
He's your guest, Neil, so introduce
him. He's my guest. Go ahead, Norm.
How are you, Neil?
I thought he was calling for me.
And how are you, and Z?
I'm doing great. How are you, Norman?
I'm fine. Did you ever see the movie Murder on a Sunday Morning?
Nope.
I knew you wouldn't. and if you see it, I'll recommend the film to you where the hero's name is Z.
Oh, that's the movie or a different one?
I know Z.
It's
that's
a different
Zorro.
movie.
Zorro.
No, it's not.
Zorro.
It's not Zorro. I said Z, not Zorro.
Z.
Okay, why don't you listen? See, he sounds like a teacher in 6th grade. That's not what I said. Listen to me.
I got you.
Anyway, I'm going to respond to what I thought was a ridiculous statement by Neil yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Well,
you got to fill me in. I wasn't here, so tell me.
Okay. See, Neil puts words in
we know what he
mouth that he thinks that I say, which he doesn't listen carefully. First of all, I'm not. He called me a communist, Z, which he sounds like a stupid joke.
Well, if you're voting for Sanders, then you are. I don't know.
Listen. I have a right to vote for whomever I want, and he's a lot. And guess what? He's a lot smarter than you, Z. He's a lot smarter.
Yeah, this is going to be free. That's going to be free. Apparently, free things grow on trees in this country.
Listen. You're just talking stupid nonsense because you really don't have.
Go ahead.
Wait a second. I want you to see Murder on a Sunday Morning, and then I want you to tell Heshy and Neil what that film was about, and maybe you'll learn something. It won the Academy Award for a reason, and if you watch it,
what year did it come out in?
About 6 years ago.
Oh, so it's relatively new.
Yes. And it's about your state of Florida. That's why I recommended it. And because I listened carefully.
What's it about?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, you know what? I'll Google it right now.
You just watch it.
It's
a great, great documentary.
Okay, get back to me. Let's go.
Now, listen.
It came out 15 years ago, so you should probably.
So, Norman, I want to ask you a question.
Why are you bothering him? I want him to talk.
I want to ask him a question since he's such a smart man. Norman, you ever heard of the Canary Islands?
Yes.
What was it named after? For which animal was the Canary Islands named after?
I really don't know.
Okay.
If it's named after a bird the birds of
Named after dogs.
See, I know you would go for
it's
that.
Named after a dog.
Happened to be, you're right.
I know.
Named after dogs.
Canine,
very good.
Canary, Latin, yeah.
That's due to something
called... I'm way ahead of you over there, Norman.
Very
See, I'm
good.
not as stupid as you think.
Okay, go ahead.
Listen, did I say you're stupid? if you don't know about something, I'm glad you said, look, I knew about dogs, so now I just learned something. I'm trying to show you about the injustice that takes place in Florida and what morons are there.
I see what it's about already.
Why is it different than anywhere else?
The justice system is broken everywhere in this country.
It's outrageous because somebody could have been electrocuted for no reason.
That happens all the time.
Many people. Many people have been electrocuted for no reason.
All right, whatever.
No? Oh, you don't believe that?
Can we get back to this whole debate?
Many people have been electrocuted for no reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So,
can we get back to this debate from yesterday?
Don't you think it should be stopped?
For sure.
And you know what? They just let a man out of prison. He was in prison for 25 years in Chicago, and how they got him to confess is through electric shock and torture. That took place in Chicago. That's why at the time, the governor of Illinois stopped all executions. He was a corrupt man, yet he knew that the police force was so corrupt and so many men were on death row that never committed the crimes. Now I just want to say...
Norman, by the way, that's all over the place. You know, there's a guy in New York that was just let out of jail, a black man. He left his job at Sears, I think, as stocking boy, to stock stuff on the shelves. He clocked out at 3:00. He got on the train, and the police came to arrest him on a robbery that happened that day. He said, "But I was working till 3:00." He says, "Well, you fit the description. You have a hood and you're black." And they arrested him. I promise you, they posted him on $3,500 bail because the lady identified him around police officers, not even in a lineup. And he was put in jail for 6 weeks. He couldn't get out because he didn't have the $3,500 bail. Now they dropped all the charges against him. Okay, so what do you mean? It happens every day.
Lots of injustice.
A lot of injustice.
Well, don't you think it should be straightened out?
But it won't be. But it won't be.
It's not like one person.
That's the difference between me and you, Norm.
Realism.
In other words, I know it will not be straightened out.
Okay, good for you. I want to try and do something about it. If you're nonsensical enough not to care about...
It has nothing to do with caring. I'm a realist.
Okay. I don't care if you're a realist.
Yeah.
Yesterday I thought you were soulless. Because let me say what I want to say.
Wow.
Let me say what I want to say. First of all, you said that I'm a commie and I don't believe that people should have a chance to go into business and reach their goals and nonsense. I'm all for people having free enterprise and making their dreams come true by going into business. I know how hard it is to be a successful businessman. It's very easy to fail, but it's very hard to be successful. And just ask Heshy how hard he worked to make his business successful. A lot of people quit. So I have nothing against people making $20 billion a year, $300 million a year. Go make whatever you want. I don't like the corruption that goes on with corporations, how they sold out America.
Nobody does.
Wait, let me continue. There has to be oversight to keep things into control. So if you're putting out a medicine and you know the dangers of that medicine, why are you putting it on the market? Well, because they still think if people die, they're still going to make a huge profit.
Yeah, but if they save one person, that's a lot.
That's right, Hesh. And how about putting products on the market that take a lot more? How about that product? Do you know what thalidomide was? Heshy, do you know what that was?
Yes, I think it was a couple of years ago. They outlawed it, and there was a big class action suit.
Listen, I believe it was a drug to help women conceive. So they put it on the market, and the women did conceive, but their children... did you ever see somebody with a very short arm that looks like it's a foot long?
Yeah, but was that really so? A lot of people took that medicine, I'm sure, that drug. I'm sure the percentage of children that came out which is that in itself is
it was extremely high.
Extremely high?
Yes, absolutely. I have a friend, somebody that worked with me, and that was his condition. He was an amazing human being. And then I knew a girl that, so on and so forth. This is what I don't like. Hydrofracking is very dangerous. It destroys your property. It causes death. It causes cancer.
How did you get to hydrofracking? That's upstate New
York,
I'm
just saying, this is what corporations do. They don't care. You think BP gave a god?
One minute. You have a problem with fracking?
Of course, it's horrible.
By the way, can you explain fracking to them? I'll explain. Fracking is...
Go on. Listen. I'll give you all the information.
What fracking is.
I gave Joseph my telephone number, and I do want you to call me, but I need my number.
Right now, we're on the radio. Before you call, fracking. We have to get to the next one. Fracking is upstate to look for natural resources, correct? Like gas?
Natural gas.
What it does you believe that the gas, when it hits the water, that the water blows up. Stop it. That's make-believe, and everybody knows that.
Listen. If you want to be stupid, you can be stupid.
Not stupid. Nobody
whoever disagrees with him is stupid.
Listen, because I'm going to tell you, the person's name that you should look up on the computer, Sandra Steingraber, and she was on Bill Moyer's show. Woman's a biologist. She had cancer. She'll tell you all the things that go on because our environment is poisoned.
Yeah, and I'll tell you about the saccharin, about Splendor, about Equal, about all the dyes they put in the food, and all the genetic made food that we don't really know the results, what we would be in 50 years. You have a whole list of stuff like that.
If you want to accept corruption, well, that's what you're accepting.
Right. And you don't have a choice. You can dream you have a choice.
Listen,
you can dream.
Nobody in this room is making a difference.
You know what? When I was growing up in the 1950s, if you listen to the cigarette commercials, it was like, hey, man, you smoke a cigarette, it's like you'll have vitamins and you'll feel good and it takes away stress. And there's nothing bad about it, but they knew there were things that were bad about it.
Correct.
Okay, listen to me.
So don't you think that's deception? And how many lives?
Correct.
We're going to take another call.
Correct, but what are you going to do about it? They have the lobbyists. Everybody's paid for. And finish.
I could tell you. Listen, take BP, who destroyed what was it, the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, stop it! They didn't destroy it. They made a little damage and they cleaned it up.
Nonsense. All the fishermen went out of business.
They didn't go out of business. They sued.
You know what?
You don't know what you're talking about. Now you're acting crazy. They got billions and billions of dollars in it. Norman, you're wonderful. We'll talk more. We'll talk more.
You never want to hear. You're afraid of the truth, Heshy.
Okay, give us your closing statement.
Give me another minute.
You got a minute. Go.
You got a minute.
If somebody destroys the environment and they don't care about what the repercussions are, then you learn how to boycott them. And if everybody boycotted BP, oh my goodness, you see how fast they'd cave in and do what they're supposed to do.
And like an Al Sharpton kind of Jesse Jackson kind of thing.
No, listen, when black people weren't allowed to sit on any seat on the bus, what did they do? They boycotted. And what happened? The bus company said, hey, you know what? If we're going to be stupid and these people continue to boycott, we're out of business. Let them sit wherever they want. That's all. And that was the end. But the end result was wonderful. So you have to learn how to play a game. If somebody does something damaging to us, then you have to learn how to fight back.
There are too many factions. We can't bring them together. Everybody has that self-interest.
What do you mean faction?
In other words, in our country now, if you would discuss something about BP, for an example, I'm using that just as an example. So you would have, let's say, 20% of the all the corporate guys out there, not only in oil, but other corporate people who would fight that, no, don't add any more regulation, don't change anything, we're happy, and that's it. Then you got 20% of the people that are going to say, hey, I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about, so I don't know. And, and you have different types of people out there, and you can't get them at a table to sit down and come up with something because everybody has their own self-interest at heart. Okay, they're no more idealists. Every politician, every teacher, every uniform kind of guy, they all start off as idealists, most of them.
And then they've broken promises.
And then after a little bit, you realize there's no way. Yeah. There's no way. And that's why I was disappointed that you thought someone like Sanders, can make a difference. He's one little guy from Brooklyn. He's not going that far.
My question is why anybody, everything that he says sounds great until you actually think about how it's going to actually happen in real life. Ideally, sure, we'll have free healthcare and free education and free this, and we'll tax the rich. But he was actually on the Bill Maher show last week, and he said, guess what? I crunched the numbers, and your idea of taxing the 1%, it won't even cover the healthcare costs of one state, let alone the whole country. And instead of actually answering him, he just deflected it. Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry. I'll tax 2% of the people.
And where does it end? Free everything for everybody is great, but there's no such thing as free. Somebody's got to pay for it, and
there is no free. That's what you have to understand. If you're not paying here, it's like a bubble.
I got that.
If you push the bubble, it goes to the other side. It goes this side, that side. But it doesn't disappear.
Okay, there's no such thing as free, but if you're down and out, then you do.
That's why we have soup kitchens. That's why we have Section 8.
And that's why people are supporting him. All the people that don't want to work and earn their money, they're all happily vote for him. Just tax the rich, tax the rich.
There's a lot of people. There's 58,000 homeless people. Take a phone call. Let's hear what's going on.
New York, there are
58,000.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Homeless.
You're on the air with Just Enough Heshy Show.
58,000 in homeless shelters.
Plus all the those $3,000.
Good evening. Yeah,
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Good. How are you, Uncle?
What's up, everybody?
Let's do it.
Good. Okay. First of all, I want to make a suggestion that, to save a little time on the show, that Mammons just give us the name of the blog, Conspiracy Blog, and everybody could read them. He just gives us the topics that he just read, and we can read them on our own.
We should have Norm.
I like Norm. I have no problem with him.
I like it a lot, but a lot of the stuff smells like conspiracy theories.
Right.
And a lot of the times he's right. But that's the system. It's not 1901 now.
If you throw dots, eventually you hit targets.
No. Listen, I'm a big fan and a believer. Throughout my years, I've had involvement and stuff. Politics is politics, and all it is another corrupt system.
Correct.
Finished.
Correct.
Anyone who wants to fool themselves that this one is better or that one is this, no. They have different interests, different priorities, and once you know what their priorities are, then you know who to take care of them.
Give me Greenfeld's priority. What's his interest? What's his game?
He's just stepping up. He wants to run for mayor.
And what about Heikind?
Heikin's retiring.
He's not retiring. He's been playing.
He's going to retire.
He's not retiring.
1 second. Hold on, Neil. Doesn't he represent the state of Israel, Heikind? He doesn't represent our district anymore.
You're right. That's going to be his retirement. He's going to go to Israel and run for prime minister.
He just went to Israel again, right?
Yeah, he likes going to Israel.
I'm not sure he's ever here.
Yeah,
but de Blasio is in Israel also, actually.
But de Blasio's trip is paid for by organization.
No, but this was so what? Who pays for Dov Heikind? Not Dov Heikind.
His private buddies, which I don't know if he's allowed to do that.
Everything is done by the book. Don't be an ass. The guy's been around a long time.
Right.
He doesn't want to lose his pensions and the money. He has like $4 or $5 million stashed away for campaign stuff,
right.
And he's allowed to use it for anything after he retires.
Correct.
Yeah. Let me ask you, and Z, we see in your time growing up, do you see anyone as good as Greenfield in all your days?
Well, I grew up in Florida, so I can't comment on that.
Sure, I met a
What
lot of
about Neil? Neil,
Greenfields.
you grew up in Brooklyn and saying Greenfield's amazing. I know Uncle Heshy disagrees.
Oh my God, I can't believe.
Oh, you're saying that he's amazing? That's
is anyone as good? Is anyone as good as him in your day?
I think everyone was as good as him.
I think Greenfield does a lot for the people.
I think you're making a mistake. I think that if you would take a look at Greenfield's record, in other words, a real college look, not BS, quiet.
Yeah.
Give me my time.
Got it.
Okay? You will find that the things that he does for the community might be different a little than his predecessors and the ones before him and before him, but it's the same amount as far as budgets, dollars, and this and that. It's just moving things around where he wants them, what his priorities are, and who he owes payback to take care of. Okay? I don't think he's anything special as a politician. He's a very, very calculated, lucky guy. That's all I can tell you. And he's going places. He's right now. Listen, he's on the board of what is that? The housing thing.
Right.
Zoning. He's the head of the zoning committee. You know, that's in New York. That's the most powerful thing.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That's
right. And you know what he had to do to get that? He had to get the speaker at the time, the woman. What's her name? I don't know how to pronounce her name.
The new
Valaquez.
That's the new speaker.
Right. So he made a deal with her. He's going to give a lot of support and a lot of this, and he probably did a few other things. And the idea was that he will get that chairmanship of that committee, and he got it.
Right, so everything is a deal. That's why Uncle Heshy's he believes in communism, because you don't have as much corruption.
Okay. No. Communism has the same corruption, just less people involved.
Correct. Less people earning a living off it.
No, that's what it is. You got the same pie by communism, except you only split it between 4. Right. And in New York, you split it between 24.
That's right.
I think you got way worse in communism. Way worse.
Steve,
I didn't get anything.
Steve, I want to ask you a question. Next election is coming up next year.
Leave him alone.
Okay.
Let me hear.
I just want to know.
Who would you vote for today?
Hillary, right? Everybody, do you know what? I was listening to Curtis. Hold on. I was listening to Curtis and the other one. Curtis and Kobe this morning.
What's his name? Kubi. I love that.
And you know what? He says Hillary's the person. And people were
That's what Kubi said, not Curtis.
Not Curtis. It was Curtis.
No way.
Curtis likes Hillary. He likes the Clintons, yes.
He just likes women.
No, but he was defending her while everybody was screaming he liked her.
I'm thinking either Jeb Bush or Donald Trump.
He's not. He wants Hillary
because he's a big fan of Giuliani and stuff.
He was a fan of Giuliani because of New York, not because any other reason.
But they're still friends.
Okay, but both were defenders of the weak, of the people.
And I like what Trump came out with when he said, "Hey, you know, Jeb, you're telling me your brother protected us. 9/11 happened on his watch, and I'm a Bush fan. I really am. I believe that the last Bush president, I don't know what they call him, George W. I think as a human being and as a person, he is 1,000% patriotic to this country. Yeah. He's a real person. In other words, before he went into work in the morning, he said a prayer that God should lead him right and things should go good, and he went to work. You know, he respected the office. He understood it. He's a very humble man. He really is. He's really a special person. I think so.
Uncle Heshy, I want to know for season 2. I want to see the list of special guests. Was not announced yet.
We were supposed to have tonight. We were supposed to have tonight a special guest.
2 guests.
And have a heart people coming on, some Heart Association to talk about them again. I think they do very good stuff. I liked them the last time they were on. They said they're going to come back.
What about that old? And you know why? What's the Get guy? The one with the Get?
Rabbi
Stern, Jeremy Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's now a case where the rabbis allowed a woman to remarry.
Yes.
As an annulment without a get.
Really?
A get is a religious divorce that a husband has to give his wife.
What about the cantor you promised everybody? Where is he?
The cantor? That's the wrong radio show.
Tonight or something. Tonight you said you're having a guest.
Right, it was a comedian, and she got sick.
A comedian, not a cantor.
What the hell's the difference?
She's coming on. She got sick. What should I tell you? That's why I'm here to tell you a joke, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to tell you a joke right before we.
No, before you tell me the joke, that was the joke she played on you. She got sick.
Okay, what should I do? You know, we at the show, we take it we take it on the chin. We're big boys, so we have more than enough what to do over here, and a lot to discuss, by the way. So we have a lot of things to do. But thank you for your call tonight. You were very nice.
And let me hear the joke. Thank you.
Here we go with the joke. Get
ready to be disappointed. You're not going to believe he's really thanking you.
You're gonna love this joke. So my kid, right? He just got a permit, right? He's 16 years old. You know what I mean? So he's okay. He's good to go. And he says to me, well, I want a car. I said, okay, no problem. I'll get your car. No problem to drive around in. But I want you to push your grades up from C's to B's, okay? And I want you to cut your hair, okay? And because his hair was long. And
you are a sick man.
It was a long hair. We did short hair.
Kids are beautiful. They're beautiful kids.
Okay. And also, I wanted to make sure that he goes to synagogue every single day.
I thought he's ultra religious.
No. This is the youngest one.
Oh, Yaakov?
Right, Jacob. Anyway,
Jacob. I'm sorry.
So anyways, Yaakov gets his grades up. Okay, he's doing real good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he goes to synagogue all day long. I mean, every single day. So he's doing his good, you know. So I say to him, what about the haircut? He says to me, well, you know, Samson from the Bible, you know, had long hair.
Right.
He says Moses had long hair. He says, if you want to deal with the Christians, Jesus had long hair. I said, makes very
cool.
So
which one does he fit in?
It doesn't make a difference. I said, these are all very good arguments. And I said, you know that all of them walked. You got it? See?
Moses had long hair?
That's what I see in the movies.
You never heard that old joke where this guy, I forget, some professor was going to speak in front of like some sort of Middle Eastern, discussion, and he said, but first, a joke. So Moses was going into Israel, and before he went in, he decided he wanted to go for a little swim. So he took his clothes off and he put it by the side of the river, and while he was in the river, a bunch of Palestinians came and stole the clothes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So immediately all the Arabs in the room say, what are you talking about? There's no Palestinians back in the days of Moses. And he said, exactly. And now we can begin.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. Interesting joke. Anyways, everybody, we're coming to the halftime of the show, and I'm going to give you my closing quote of the show.
We have cheerleaders?
We don't have, what do you mean by cheerleaders?
Usually halftime in a game, cheerleaders come out.
Okay, they have.
And they look pretty good.
Right? Okay, well, we don't have cheerleaders yet. No, we're not that well.
Maybe I'm divorced a little too long. Yeah.
Anyways, here is my quote for the day, and I hope you're going to like it. And you never do, but here we go anyways. You can never go wrong by investing in people and communities with the human beings within them. You can never go wrong investing in people. That's the bottom line. You're right. You want to buy property.
Go to Alcatraz and invest in the people.
Okay. Well, man, you know what I mean? I believe that if you help people and you invest in people, they can all do well. Everybody, don't forget our sponsors tonight. Mr. Clean, he picks up and delivers. You get 25% discount. If you mention the Just Enough Heshy Show, you could call him at 347-369-3051. 347.
He does shirts?
He does shirts, suits, everything. And he fixes, I guess, if you tell him.
How much are shirts?
I don't know the price.
And how many
I think I saw
99
cents. I don't remember what it was.
And how much is the minimum order?
I think nothing. I think he'll pick up a $10 order.
Yeah?
Yeah. Call him.
All right, so I guess I'll wait 3 months.
347-369-3051. Remember, he's all over the ballpark, Flatbush, Brighton.
That's what he's doing. He's moving around.
He's moving around all day long. So if he's there, Musabi's doing 3 or 4 stops. He puts you on the route at the end of the day. And he has like 50 regular stops.
Yeah, like I used to. You can have the program.
Correct.
You just route it out.
So don't forget to call him 347-369-3051. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. We got more to talk about in the second hour. And don't forget, you can call in 718-303-9090.
Expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of AM 6.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back from station break. And I'm going to start the second half just like I made a funny joke on the way in. I'm going to tell you a little cute joke. My wife asked me when I went to the store to buy some organic vegetables from the market. And I went to look around, and I couldn't find any. So I grabbed an old person. I said, listen to me, to an employee, these vegetables, they're for my wife, and they have to be sprayed they have to be sprayed with chemicals, without any poisonous chemicals or I don't know, the joke is so bad. The produce guy looked at me and said, no, you'll have to do that yourself. I said, right, I don't want them to be sprayed. A very bad joke. I messed that joke up, producer. Why did you even give it to me? I tried to make it work good. Anyways, I tried to make a funny joke. It didn't work. Sometimes I'm good at it. But let me just talk to you a second about what we spoke about earlier in the thing. The reason for the that I believe that the disputes in the Middle East, the disputes between why ISIS woke up this morning with some stupid comments. You know what? We're letting this go on. We're letting this fight between the Israelis and the Palestinians get wilder. This new comment on the Temple Mount, terrible. You cannot entice. Somebody's doing this, and don't we see that somebody's doing this? Don't we see that somebody's making everybody nervous? All these millions of people, and nobody understands that somebody is, what's the proper word? Instigating us. Stop instigating. Just chill out, man. Let's stop the fighting. Let's stop the hating.
Did you see what happened a couple days ago with Bibi Netanyahu and that reporter from BBC?
No.
He got I was amazing. He said exactly what I was gonna say. This BBC reporter was like, Netanyahu, are you ever gonna think about calling John Kerry to put the peace talks back on the table? He said, excuse me? I've been calling him for weeks. Every single day I call him. I'm not the one that's not calling for peace. You're going to ask me about calling him for peace? I'm waiting for him to return my call, and the one that's not doing peace is Abbas. You should be asking him. And then he goes, are we even on the same planet? He said that. He goes, Liz, are we even on the same planet? You're going to ask me about why I'm not calling for peace?
Really?
Yeah.
He said
He
that?
literally said that. And I don't, how could they even say that to him? Oh, so you're thinking about maybe calling Kerry for peace?
Netanyahu can't pick up the phone and just say, hey, Abbas, come on over, let's have a chink and let's have a chat.
He's the one that refuses to do it.
What do you mean, who refused? Why does Abbas have to call Netanyahu? Why can't Netanyahu pick up the phone without Kerry and just...
No. Netanyahu is the one that wants peace. Netanyahu is the one that wants to end all this. Abbas is the one that does not want to talk.
Pick up the phone, or is it being done through the papers?
He speaks to Kerry all the time about making peace.
To Abbas?
They don't talk to each other.
Why not?
Because one of them is encouraging his citizens to kill the other person's citizens.
I never heard Abbas tell anybody to kill anybody.
He said any blood spilled in the name of Allah is blood spilled for good. That's what he said. And how dare the filthy Zionists step on the Temple Mount? He's the reason that all this is happening, because he spread a rumor about how they're doing something different with the Temple Mount, when this has been proven time and time again to be a blatant lie. And yet he gets away with murder, literally, because he incites all of his people to thinking that Israel's doing something. And because they're animals, when they hear something they don't like, their reaction is to stab 13-year-old kids on the street. Wow. I don't get how the world doesn't understand this. If I get mad at something, if something I don't agree with something, normal human reaction is not to kill people over it, but because they're raised with such messed up ideology, it becomes like justified to them that they think they're doing some sort of holy act. Their whole ideology is the problem. It's just inhuman. Normal human beings don't stab or kill innocent people. Have nothing to do with anything. No matter how mad I am at like the American government. Maybe if I blew up like a government building, fine, I would get that. But why would I just go and just stab some kid on the street that has nothing to do with anything?
Your hatred is so bad.
Exactly. The hatred is so deep because their ideology is to think that Israel stole their land and they're still. That's the whole point. They spread these lies and incitement about how we're not going to let them pray on the Temple Mount and that the Western Wall is really theirs. This is what poisons the mind of their kids to grow up to thinking that this is some sort of amazing, holy thing that they're doing by killing innocent people. That's the problem. That's the only way to beat it, is to change their whole ideology. But of course, it's not going to happen.
But some of the,
he literally said, "Liz, are we even on this planet? Are we on the same planet?" He literally said that, and it was that's how I felt. It was like, what do you mean, Netanyahu? Are you the one? How come you don't want to? The fact that she can even say that, this goes to show that no matter how much they try, no matter how much Israel and Netanyahu tries to do something, the world pays no attention whatsoever, and it's always his fault.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know what happens to the terrorists that do live, that don't die? What happens to them?
They get top-notch medical care courtesy of Israel. That's what they get. Like that little 13-year-old boy.
Why do these guys want to live? Why don't they take a pill in case they live to die?
I don't know. What about that 13? They're not. These aren't. That's the whole point. These aren't.
They have to die
terrorists. You're mixing this. These aren't Hamas operatives. These aren't ISIS or These aren't terrorists. These are just random citizens that live in Israel who decided
they don't want to be martyrs.
Heeding the call of showing that they're fighting back and that they're going around stabbing people. There's a 13-year-old kid. You think he knows anything about terrorism or about how to be take a pill or something? They're not trained. They're not part of any organization. It's just random people that live in the city.
There was a 13-year-old kid who did it.
You didn't hear this whole story? Joking me?
No.
This 13-year-old kid stabbed another kid, and he got shot by the cops. And he was lying on the floor.
He was 13.
He was shot lying on the floor, and you hear everybody cursing and screaming, die, you son of a bitch, and whatever. And of course, the media just takes. How do you not hear about this? Of course, the media just takes a video of him lying on the floor with the people cursing and say. So Abbas himself actually said, "Israel's murdering our children in the street," not mentioning the fact that 2 minutes ago he was stabbing somebody and that they shot him out of self-defense, because that's what you do when somebody with a knife is stabbing you. You shoot them.
That was the guy walking down the steps with that reporter.
No. That was another story. That was even better. But you didn't hear about this. Abbas said he was dead. And meanwhile, he's sitting in a hospital bed in Israel. So the Israeli government tweeted out all these pictures of him sitting in the hospital room, saying, "Once again, you're inciting violence about how we killed this innocent boy." When he's not, he's not even dead.
Where is this boy gonna go now? You can't put him in jail. He's only 13.
Why not?
13.
He stabbed 2 people.
He's a kid. We don't do it in America. If a kid stabs 5 people, we don't put him in jail.
They don't put him back in society.
Well, they put him in some kind of a jail. You're wrong. After a few years, they train him. They think they can fix him.
Maybe they will.
It doesn't make sense.
But the point is,
barbarians.
The world literally, it was like comical. The world literally just took the last half of the video of the poor little Palestinian boy lying in the street with the Israelis shouting at him to die. They forgot to mention the fact that a few minutes ago he was stabbing people, and that's why he was lying on the floor.
You're listening to the Just Enough Heshy show. You can watch us on YouTube by typing in Just Enough Heshy. You can get us on Twitter by doing hashtag Just Enough Heshy. Facebook, yes, Just Enough Heshy on Facebook. You can sign in or just send us a message or email us at justenoughheshy@gmail.com. Well, I think we can even give you a recording of the show. I'm sure you don't want that, but you can get it on YouTube recorded afterwards. You could also, don't forget our sponsors, Mr. Clean Delivers at gmail.com. Mr. Clean Delivers at gmail.com with an S, I think, at the end. 347-369-3051. Or don't forget Greenline Building Solutions, 718-871-0382. Permits, plans, HPD, code compliance, stop work lift orders, lead inspections, asbestos inspections. We do it all. We send the right people. We make sure it gets done correctly. 718-871-0382. That's it. You're still listening to me. And too bad, Esty, I hope you're listening to us. I know you're not well. Today she was really, really not well.
What happened to her?
I don't know. There's a flu going around. You know, I was reading in the paper that there's a whooping cough. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, because the people in Borough Park don't vaccinate their kids.
That's not true. City warns. 1 minute, listen to this. I was reading it today. City warns Jewish areas on whooping cough.
Exactly.
There are Orthodox Jewish three Orthodox Jewish neighborhoods in Brooklyn accounted for half of the 200 cases of whooping cough.
Why?
I don't know why.
Well, you think it's a coincidence?
109 cases of the infectious disease were reported in Crown Heights, Williamsburg, and Borough Park, mostly among infants and toddlers. What does that mean? That they're not cleaned infants and toddlers?
Basically, you have 4,000 million kids living in one 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, you have to be careful, and they're just telling you right now, make sure you have the proper medicine. If they're coughing bad, take them to the doctor, and so on. And don't think that it's an easy thing.
Let's get back to the story you were mixing up with the other story. Because there's so much. Whenever something like this happens in Israel, it leads to like the same things happening over and over again. The same old song and dance about how the media. So the thing that you were talking about, and it was actually amazing what happened. And you could look this up online. It was a pretty common story because all the other news networks were ripping MSNBC for the stupidity.
They were ripping him at the time while he was on the air. They were ripping him.
MSNBC, yes, that was why it was so great.
So this report is what? Is he Muslim?
Yes, he was born in Egypt, and his father is Palestinian.
I thought he was Indian.
And for some reason, MSNBC chose this guy to cover the story in the Middle East as if he's not going to be biased when he's Palestinian. It makes no sense. Anyway. So what happened was they were setting up a whole camera crew, by one of the border, whatever you call it over there, the border checkpoints, where you have the soldiers making sure nobody's coming in from the bad neighborhoods with any weapons. And some guy came in carrying a knife, and the soldiers yelled at him to stop, and he didn't stop, so they shot him. So this genius decides to tell the world that he was standing right there from where we could see. It was very clear that he was not carrying any sort of weapon or anything.
Now he doesn't see a weapon.
But
he didn't say when he passed by him.
He said at the time it didn't appear.
Was the weapon still in the guy's hand, or did it fall away?
I have no idea.
So that's why maybe he didn't see a weapon. He made a mistake.
Should I read you the transcript of what he said? He said at the time it was clear that there was no. The point is that he was making it sound as much as he could that the Israelis shot an innocent man, where we could see it doesn't seem there's any sort of sign of weapon. Why did Israel? He's making it sound. Meanwhile, as soon as he said that, the anchor back in the studios in MSNBC saw an actual picture that he couldn't see of the terrorist guy holding a long knife in his hand. And he said, don't mean to interrupt you. You just said that there's no knife. We can see from here there's a picture of him carrying a knife. So he starts stuttering. Well, what I meant was at first there wasn't a knife, but now, whatever. The point was is that he was caught red-handed lying, making it sound as usual, like so Israel shooting his honor. So nothing. So there's actually a whole petition going on about how he should be fired, but more importantly, he shouldn't be doing, let him cover, Canada or something. Why is the guy with Middle Eastern background and bias covering the Middle Eastern story?
But if anybody who can do it correctly should have been him.
Yeah, but the bias is very clear. Obviously, if you're Palestinian, you're not going to paint a clear picture about who's going, what's happening over there. But there are countless stories. I mean, all the headlines that you see. There was another great one last week with CNN. You heard, they burnt the Joseph's tomb. You heard about that? They set it on fire.
They keep burning it every couple of years.
The headline on CNN said,
I don't even believe
it said Joseph's tomb catches fire. It didn't catch fire. What do you think? Like it spontaneously combusted?
Can people still go to his tomb?
Well, they have to go with guards. It's a whole because it's in Hebron, right? So it's a whole protested. It's the Arab area. It's all the point is that the headline should have said, set on fire by Palestinian mob, but of course they say catches fire as if it was some miracle that this thing just caught fire on its own, instead of telling the story that no, Palestinian mob set this building on fire, because of course that would be very anti pro Israel to say that. So they say catches fire, and they actually changed the headline. They got so much backlash because everybody with a brain in their head knows that buildings don't just catch fire on their own. Somebody set it on fire.
Well, again, did it burn down? Because it's like the 20th time I heard that it burned down.
No. Okay. But you know what the funny thing to me is? People keep on focusing on the fact that they lit it on fire. They didn't light it on fire. Their whole claim, right, is that they were there first. We took their land. Why are they lighting this 3,000-year-old grave, right? It's in their territory that, it's their land. Where did this grave come from? Obviously, there's some sort of Jewish historical past that happened over there, right?
An Arab sheik that's over
that
there.
Could be.
Okay.
But the point is, they're making it sound like we are these invaders that took their land in 1948. This grave was there 3,000. No historian will argue with that. It's there 3,000 years ago. So for them to light it on fire, they can light it all they want. But the point is that there's obviously a history there of Jewish people and Israel being there long
history
before
of Jewish people in a lot of Arab countries. Yeah, I mean we own their land.
100%. But they're making it sound like we have no claim and we're the invaders taking over their land.
You can't say just because we're there we have claim.
Where do they want us to go? We have this little tiny sliver of land that's 100 miles by 20 miles. I don't think in
theory they're throwing all the Israelis out.
No, I'm saying in general, everyone wants to destroy Israel.
They want you to go back to before the 1948 borders. Right. They agreed to those terms. They made a mistake the first time they attacked, but if they would have never attacked, Israel would have never grown. So we're saying we're sorry.
No, but forget about that. They want to wipe.
Hold on.
The charter of Hamas is to wipe Israel off the map.
We have enough land. They're saying that if Israel gives up all their after 1948 land.
We gave them Gaza. What do they do with it?
They launch rockets from there. Nothing. Gaza's a little.
I'm giving you an example why
this doesn't happen. Give back all the land, and then the Jews are good to go. Nobody will bother them anymore.
But that's not true. Because that's not the charter of Hamas. That's not the charter of Iran.
They'll change if we.
They'll change. Yeah. Really? Based on what?
Based on that we agree to their terms.
Mm-hmm. And then assuming that they decide to change their minds and we gave them prime real estate right next to us to attack us from all four sides all over again, we're going to be like, oh, well, I guess we shouldn't have done that as the nuclear bombs rain down on us.
I think it's three sides.
Whatever. The point is that the reason why they can't give them all this land is because then we'll literally be at their mercy. But that's not true. They don't say we want the land back. We say from the land, from the, what is it, from the to the sea, Palestine. They want literally for us to be out of there completely. Death to Israel until we destroy the state of Israel. We will not rest. That's what the Hamas charter is. It's not we want half. We want a two-state solution. That's not what they scream from the street. They scream death to Israel.
So sooner or later, the Hamas will be powerful enough to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So we are looking for an end already. We see an end coming. Is that what you're saying? Israel's going to be destroyed?
No, not at all.
I don't see Israel doing anything about it.
What are they? That's a question that I asked from the very beginning of this whole thing.
If you see somebody coming to kill you, go get them.
Right.
You're waiting for America to say, let them come get you is stupid. If you see somebody coming to you with a knife stabbing you, are you going to stand there to let him stab you? No. You're going to stop him, you're going to jog, and you're going to shoot him and beat him up right away, if you could. That's what America should do. I don't know. That's what Israel should do. But I'm not the Israeli Palestinian. Whatever your opinion is, everybody, 718-303-9090, 718-303-9090.
But that's the whole problem. This isn't a foreign country attacking them or invading them. These are Israeli Arab citizens who have citizenship, who live in the Arab neighborhoods, who have the guy that carried out the Har-Nof attack.
None of them are Israeli citizens.
Of course they are. Of course
they're Israeli residents. There's a difference between.
That's what I'm saying. They live there.
Live there means that they're still not Israeli. A lot of the Jews, a lot of the Arabs who live in East Jerusalem are not Israeli.
I'll check more into it. But the point is,
like 100,000 or 200,000 Arab Israelis,
and we give them residency. We let them live amongst them.
Work, Israeli plates. They get all the privileges.
So actually, a couple of days ago, after that whole attack on the bus station, there was a video going around of a guy handing out candy. You know, because when people stab other people and kill them, it's a cause for celebration if you're a sick animal like that.
Yeah.
And they recognized one of them from the video, and he was actually a janitor that worked in a Jewish institution. And they let him go, obviously. I mean, what the hell is he handing out candy for killing people if he's working for Jewish people? I don't know. The whole situation is ridiculous, and there's nothing they could do. They live there. That's what I'm saying. It's not like there's a foreign country invading. They live amongst them. And they just go around.
I believe that.
How do you combat that?
The Israeli citizen Arabs or the Jews, like you never hear any problems out of the Jews. Why? Because they're given all.
Because they want to live in peace.
Right. And I believe the Israeli Arab citizens don't want to mess it up, and they live in peace. They do. I don't really hear any terrorist attacks coming from them. Anyways, I hear about you overseas. I want to talk a little bit about the election that you guys didn't let me talk about before.
The Canadian election?
American election, okay?
Yeah, let's hear.
We know that I told you originally in the beginning of the show, this guy, Jim Webb, dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who cares about him?
Right, I got that. Again, it's Sanders that right now I'm learning a lot more that Sanders is very intelligent, very smart. He's in charge of the Democratic committee or whatever, Democratic Party or whatever it is. He's chairman. All I know is he's very smart, but still, Hillary's more qualified. That there's no discussion, hands down. On the other side, Trump, who hasn't, they say, Neil told me he spent like a couple $100,000, but now they're saying that Trump is getting free publicity. He's not spending any money, and he can really get publicity whenever he wants. He just calls up a bunch of people and says, look, I'm making a news conference. I'm crazy. But if he gets too crazy, they'll stop coming. Right now, it seems like he knows what he's doing. So we know it's Trump, and Carson is still behind him. I don't even know why Carson's behind him.
Well, you know, they might actually join together into a party.
I
think that's a great thing because they say at least 50% of Republican voters like one or the other. So if they join together,
it's 25 and 20%.
Something.
Right.
But I think that could be great, but it could also backfire because the people that are anti-Trump, like are really anti-Trump, like people that like Carson, like they definitely.
No, but I don't think the Carson.
Trump is very polarizing. No, you either love Trump or you hate him. There's nobody that's like, well.
The only thing is, I believe Carson wants to be president and let Trump be vice president, which wouldn't be so bad. I don't know.
We got a caller.
Oh, we got a surprise caller. How are you? How are you, my boy? Ralph, how are you tonight? No deal. Huh, Ralph? Hello? He can't hear us. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Ralph. How are you?
I'm sorry, Uncle Heshy, you hear me?
No, Ralph. No. Okay.
It's Roman.
Roman, I'm sorry. How are you, Roman?
Yeah, no problem at all. Uncle Heshy, I want to wish you a happy new year. Last year I talked to you. Thank God I'm okay. I hope you're all doing well too.
We are. Thank you. That's very nice. How are you, Roman?
Good. What I would like to tell you, about regarding my feeling about what's going on in Israel, Shalom al Israel, we need it to more united, more depend on Hashem direction. That's number one. I hope it helps us before Mashiach comes, of course. And then maybe we see some good reliefs, peaceful reliefs. That's number one. But what's the reason I call really? I apologize. But last year I had a conversation, I'm sorry it's little off the program of the discussion, about the gay lesbian situation, and the Norman was disappointed with my opinion. I apologize to hurt his feelings. I don't mean really. I'm also 50-year smoker used to be, and I quit. So he will understand me. So I don't mean really to put like separately island to hurt the gay lesbians, because you see, if all of us will be that situation, we cannot produce the new generation, we're going to end the war. That's why I mean, and then they've been chasing, they've been killed, they suicide, this kind of very, very difficult psychological depression. And he kind of called me Matri. I'm really forgiving for that, and I want to forget about that. He don't mean the bad way. He mean it's not nice, really, to put them separately. But I think maybe that helps in future, they can produce themselves in the opinion of the art or business, whatever. But it's not, I'm directing, I just give my opinion. And that's all, and I wish the Normal also Happy New Year, and I hope we're gonna do well. And when you talk, when you talk, we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen and listen and listen. Happy New Year.
Roman, who are you gonna vote for? Who do you want to see as the next president? Forget who you're gonna vote. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see from all the crazies?
Okay, I tell you honestly, my opinion for Hashem. Reason why?
Okay, we got that. Who do you want as president? Stop, president.
Who I want to be president?
Yeah.
Norman.
No.
Everybody gonna listen to you.
Okay. So you don't want to pick one. You don't like. I want to know Trump or Hillary. That's it. Pick one.
Okay, if you ask me between two of them, I like both of them, but I don't think so. President have a really power of decisions. It's behind the president of United States. United States used to be united before I come to this country, and something happened since I come to this country. It's different states, different rules, different this, and I don't understand politics. Uncle should be honest with you, but I think so. this God willing, it should be okay. We try Obama. He's trying his best. We had many presidents before. I hope Hashem send us some decent presidents who will really, really, really be in the charge of the good deeds.
Very
okay?
nice. Thank you.
I don't want to take
you.
too much airtime.
No.
I love you.
We needed more airtime for Norman.
That's right. Thank you so much, Roman. That was very nice. That was cool. That was very good. Yeah.
Did you hear any of the things we were talking about? Yeah. About the reporter from MSNBC that said that
the
there was
fake
no
knife thing,
knife, and there was really a knife there, and he said on the news that he didn't see any knife going on there. You didn't hear about that?
Yes,
really?
Yes, you did see it. I spoke to you about it. There was a guy standing in the old city, and somebody ran by him.
There was a reporter for MSNBC, and he said that Israel shot this guy, and there was no knife, and why did they shoot him? And meanwhile, it was very clear.
The guy, the Arab, the
reporter.
F-O.
There was a reporter watching running this guy with a knife to stab somebody, and the Jews shoot him. The guard shot him. The soldier shot him, and he says, well, he shot him for no reason. Really had a knife in his hand, and his own producer, the guy who was questioning
the anchor back in America,
says, look, I see a knife in his hand, or I see a picture of a knife.
And what did he answer?
Yeah, I think it was
bunch of mumble. Oh, well, I meant he didn't have the knife anymore. Really, after
actually caught him at question. That was like a great video.
CNBC,
MSNBC. Yeah. But you know about the boy though. That you for sure know about the boy that was really that it said he was dead, but really he was sitting in the Israeli hospital bed. You don't hear about these things?
I don't know. I haven't heard this in the last 2 days.
No, this is like a week ago already. Okay. They said this Palestinian boy that Israel killed him.
Oh, yes.
And really he was sitting alive and well in an Israeli hospital.
Taken care of.
Exactly. And Abbas Houston site.
Guys, you see, I see where your mindset is. You're all set on defending or blaming or whatever. It's not that
we just want truth, and we want the world to see very clearly what's doing what.
Again, you guys are so busy with your truth. You're not
right. Something you're not familiar with.
That's right. Yeah,
there can't be moral equivalency in the situation in Israel. It's very simple. You can't take both sides. Well, both sides need to stop. There's no both sides need to stop.
That's what Obama does.
Exactly.
Right.
One side wants to live in peace and just not bother anybody and just go on their daily life. The other side wants to kill those people.
But if you would ask Hillary, she would say, "What difference does it make?"
Yeah, exactly. So we give moral equivalency to people that stab innocent people in the street, to the people that respond. That is a big failure.
Why does she want to be president?
Because her husband is a president.
I understand, but why does she want it? Why does Biden want it? I mean, Biden, I understand, is a poor.
Why would anybody want to be president? It's a lot of work for not a lot of pay.
Right.
$250,000.
It's not $200, it's $400 now.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. It's not
when you
worth
retire, you get $400,000 for life plus $1 million, $2 million office budget.
See, he thinks that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's dealing with people that deal with billions of dollars.
Fiorina is worth. She made $30 million a year as the CEO of eBay. She doesn't need the money, believe me. But because they want to make a difference and they think that they could help this country run better.
Or do they want to rape the country?
Well, it can't be raped more than it already was.
No, there's more there.
You could see, by the way, when Obama came into office, his hair was black. His hair was black.
Every president.
In 5 years.
Anyway, his eyes. I don't like the way he looks. To me, he looks like he's a little bit off.
He's stressed out. He's done.
He's stressed out from what? He doesn't do anything.
You're crazy, man.
The man does not work. He doesn't have a work ethic.
I don't know.
He has to find out who's rolling the joints or we're using the pipe. Wow. That's what he wants to know.
Can't talk about the president like that.
Why? He said himself he smoked pot and stuff.
According to everybody, smoked pot in the 60s and the 70s. So, big deal.
I don't know why they stopped.
Okay. He can't be president, stoned. I guess that's a requirement.
But you see that he is president, stoned.
Not anymore.
We don't know that for a fact.
Pretty much we do.
No, we don't. Like Ronald Reagan, they said, now they're coming out with books and stuff, and they're saying that, at a certain point after he got shot, who was it, Hinckley shot him?
Not Hinckley. Hinckley, I think you're right. Hinckley.
Before my time.
No, Hinckley, the guy who was watching the movie, killed her for a movie called Taxi, right? Taxi Driver or something.
Because he was trying to impress.
So all I know is that they had 2 meetings in reference whether he's lost his mind or he's capable to stay president.
And
they decided he didn't lose his mind. He just falls asleep.
Okay, he gets tired during the day. I guess so. Everybody does. He was
And now
80
we
years
want to
old.
let Biden come in at 72.
Oh, but 72. So
he's the oldest guy to ever run for president.
Oh, wasn't I thought what's his name again? Reagan, 70-something years old. 77.
No, that's when he finished.
He finished 70. I thought he finished 80.
No, I'm not sure, but I believe they've been saying on the news Biden will be the eldest to run.
To run.
Hey, that is the guy have the strength to do it.
72.
I even look at Donald Trump, who claims he's so
67.
super,
He's 67.
and he's so strong, and he can stand for 12 hours, 20 or whatever. And you see he gets tired. He leans against his, what do they have there?
The podiums.
The podiums. He leans on it. He actually leans on it. He can't stand straight.
Usually he goes on vacation.
It doesn't project a symbol of somebody who could run a country.
Right. He doesn't have that strength-looking thing. He talks a game, but he needs a chair. It's like...
Okay, he's an executive.
No, I understand.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to represent the way he does when he's a president. It's different.
There are many executives, by the way, and I find this to be true, that really take care of themselves. Like every morning they'll jog for 5 miles.
Okay,
or they'll
I'm sure
go to
Trump
the gym.
goes to the gym.
He used to jog. President Clinton used to jog. I remember.
And
so he still
had he used to eat his Happy Meals.
I think Bush also. No,
but no
Bush
more Happy Meals.
Yeah,
Bush is a biker.
A biker?
Yeah.
Say what you want about Bush, but he was very vital. he was very he was very uppity.
And by the way, Obama's a basketball player, right? He likes basketball.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He likes sitting on the side there when the smoke comes up like that.
Stop it. He's out. You know what? I want to tell you a good story. Because
tell me a good story about Obama.
Not Obama, but Obama's inspiration. He says, service to your country. Again, I'm going to keep repeating it to you, is service.
He takes everything that they say as real.
So I want to tell you a story. There was a young lady. She was supposed to get married, and she had like 100 guests invited to her wedding.
Right.
The day before, 2 days before, the groom backed out of the wedding. Backed out of the wedding.
Yes.
She was upset. She continued to run the party, and she brought in 100. The party. She still made a party, but at the party she invited 100 homeless people to eat the food.
I've seen it.
Isn't that a great story?
It's a great story.
If you're gonna take a hit, you're gonna lose $35,000.
But I gotta tell you, the homeless would have been happy with a Big Mac and fries. It's just the same.
The point is she would have lost that money anyway.
Right, I understand. But just know, sometimes certain people, you overdo it. They don't even appreciate it because what are you giving them? Filet mignon. They want a burger.
Okay. And now I was saving this story for last. I want to tell you this story. Okay. There was a judge, I think in New Jersey or New York, that overrode the assisted suicide law. She feels bad for the people that are sick that needs it, but she overrode it and says, no, you cannot have any assisted suicide in New York.
I thought it was illegal already.
I thought it's illegal in America.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
But Switzerland is doing it.
No, I think some states approved it already.
Yeah.
And what was the whole controversy with Kevorkian?
Because Kevorkian state didn't allow it, and there was, I think,
you're not allowed to help them. I don't know.
Right, but I think there is a state, or there was a line that you were able to go do it, but he still did it in his little town, and that's why he got in trouble.
That's another thing I thought that should be legal. Put it up there with prostitution.
You know what? Assisted suicide.
Your body, you can do whatever you want with it.
You know what? I have a problem with it. When I'm going to be very sick in bed and I'm going to tell my son, pull the plug, he's going to have a good laugh. He's going to pull the plug. He's going to put the plug back in. He's going to pull it again and say, hey, Bob, let's have a good laugh.
That's in your dreams. He's putting it back in. And he knows he's not putting it back in.
We'll see his laugh.
I do have a good laugh for me.
He'll unplug you and charge his cell phone.
He's just going to close the breaker and he's going to say, I don't know what's going on. It's plugged in.
Let me tell you something. Listen, most of the people that wanted to end their lives, they weren't, people walking down the street, 40 years old with 2 kids and a job and said, hey, I want to kill myself. These are mostly people who are suffering tremendously.
For many
mostly
years.
Physically and literally in pain. Every day they have diseases, they have all sorts of problems. and they're suffering and they're hurting.
Maybe God wants them to suffer. That's
fine. But it's their body, it's their choice, and they want to end their lives. They don't want to suffer. I don't think there's anything inhuman or inhumane about it. I think it's actually very humane. If they're suffering that much, that they'd be willing to end their own lives because the pain is too much to bear.
You know what the question really comes to?
Who are we to tell them?
No, I'll tell you. The real problem is when it's somebody who's really not mentally competent. They appear to be,
right,
but they're really not.
Right.
And they make the decision. Right. That's no good.
That could be, and there should
be an issue.
Obviously, we don't just take it, No,
I'm saying, but sometimes you can't tell that somebody went through, whatever.
There's a process, obviously. You can't just be, hey, 1-800-KILL me, and working come. Obviously, there has to be a process.
No, I have that number already.
There has to be a process to make sure that they're, mentally sound. But again, if somebody is in such pain,
but who would make this decision mentally sound? Who would make it?
I don't know who makes the decision for anything.
Today, the judges like guardianship judges, 5 years mentally sound, they'll make you suffer. You can suffer till by the time these courts make a decision.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't work like that. There's somebody in charge who should make that decision for you left and right. That's my opinion, by the way.
I always thought it was illegal.
You don't
know
believe in that, but
I don't believe in it.
Right.
I don't
believe everybody should stay and suffer.
Not stay and suffer. She tried to.
In other words, if your mommy has to suffer, good for her. You're not going to let her die. Suffer better.
You know what? Let me explain to you what suffering is, okay?
You don't have to explain.
Suffering means
everybody else has different types of suffering.
Right.
Okay? There's a Talmudic saying that if you put your hand in your pocket and you want to pull out a nickel and you pull out a quarter, that's pain. that's it. Then So the same thing here. To everybody, pain is something else. Okay, you know how many different variables play, what kind of family they were brought up in, how they were in school. They could remember something about second grade that's still bothering them, and God knows what. I mean, the people really suffer if you especially that. People talk to you,
right,
and you hear the way they go back 50 years, 30 years. They got smacked with a ruler in school or whatever, and it twisted their brain since then. Finished.
They've been abused badly, and they're messed up forever.
Right.
I mean, a lot of them are not crazy people. They're just affected by
they're not the norm.
They're not the norm.
They can't think,
and that's why we have to do better. We have to make sure it's with love and take care of them. When I had a little kid, my boys were little. One of them came over to me with a sandwich, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich between two crackers. He says, "Hey, Bob, you want the sandwich?" I said, "Sure, good. Give it to me." I take it, I put it in my mouth, I chew it up. He says, "You want to know how I made it?" I said, "Yeah, okay."
Oh,
tell me. He says, "Well, I took a cracker and I chewed it up and I spit it out. And then I put the jelly and the peanut butter on the sides. I put the crumbs in the middle. And here it is. Isn't it great?" I said, "Oh, shoot." I said, "Oh, my God." And I said, he said, "Do I want
That's
another?"
what kids are for.
I said, listen to this one. He says, "Do you want another one?" I said, No, I'm full. I said, "But your mother wants one."
Yeah.
Okay.
That is funny.
If I was gonna suffer, she's gonna suffer. Okay.
That is funny.
Yeah. I have a lot of kids. But my kids put me through.
But you and I know that Linda took a second one also.
Yeah, she was happy with that.
She didn't hear the story.
You know what? I have a lot of kid stories. I remember going with my kid to the doctor, and I took him to the doctor. He's a little boy, and he goes into the doctor, and the doctor makes him cough and get undressed, and he's looking at me. I said, "You got to do what the doctor says, and he does things, and he makes him better, and whatever, and he comes out, and he's looking out the window. It's like, you know what I mean? Look what you did to me. Maybe go to this doctor, whatever." I said, "Listen to me. When you get 40 years old, watch what the doctor really does to you." Okay, I'm suffering more than you. They never end torturing us.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They push these tests and more tests.
I know,
and more tests.
But you got to do it. You got to be careful, Neil. You got to be careful of your heart. You got to be careful of your blood pressure. You got to be careful of your cholesterol. There's no excuse today, whether you have health insurance or not, that you don't get yourself checked out by a clinic or a doctor, or $45 or $50. Get somebody to help you out.
Well, you better do it now, because next year it's going to be way more difficult.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of Obamacare is kicking in now. after January.
Which is good or bad?
Bad.
Is the next president able to repeal or reform Obamacare?
Yes, if he has Congress on
because most people that I know's payments have gone up. Obviously, the people who couldn't afford any health insurance, hey, it worked out great for them.
But not only up, the deductibles went up crazy. A guy could have had a $500, $1,000 deductible, and now it's $2,500 or $5,000 deductible. You know, that's a lot of money. Plus, you're paying premiums,
which are much more than they were before.
Right, it's a lot of money. When I hear what people pay for health insurance, as
usual, it benefits the poor people and takes away from the middle class because you're not.
But it's really not only benefiting the poor; it's benefiting all the people that own the labs and all the.
Again, but we need.
You know, I never seen so many. What do they call that? Physical therapy places. Yeah. They're all over the place.
Because now you can bill it to the government.
They just bill it to the government. Okay, that's it. You're allowed.
You were screaming at me yesterday. Neil was screaming at me. He says, well, if somebody has cancer and he doesn't have the money, so too bad he shouldn't live a couple months longer. If you have the money, you can suffer a little longer. But that's too bad on you that you don't have the money. You have to die.
I'm saying that you cannot.
It's not too bad on you.
That's what he said. Too bad on you.
No, this is what I'm saying. Let's get it clear.
It's reality.
Let's get it clear.
Some people can afford it. Some people can't.
There are medicines that cost $10,000 a week to maintain.
Who's paying for that?
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And now you're a guy who never made more than $40,000 a year. Okay. So you have no money. You can't pay anything. Okay. Why do I have to pay for you to live 3 extra months? Why?
Maybe I'll get cured.
But you're not going to get cured. You'll ask the doctor. He'll tell you, no, you're just going to prolong it. You'll be sick. You can order your grave, he'll tell you.
Right.
You can order it.
Wow.
Whether you use it in 3 months or 6 months.
So a man who tells you that, you don't see a pity for him to help him out?
There are too many. Ooh. How many are you going to help?
Should I give all my money to help everybody that needs medicine? I mean,
no, and then what? And then he's going to walk around broke and go collecting himself?
So why are you helping anybody today? What, to live another 20 years? So big deal, 20 more years.
You're comparing 20 years to 3 months?
I'm comparing, 20 more years. What, like you said, he's never going to make much. He's never going to do much for society, so screw it.
No, I don't know what he does for society.
But maybe he won't do like he's done till now, 40, 50 years. He hasn't accomplished much. You know he's not going to accomplish much.
He might be a great husband, a great father, a great
why
grandfather.
Can't you give him 3 more months as a great husband,
because
father,
you know that's it. It's the end of the line.
So
why do you have to lose? In other words, if you make a deal,
jump off the building.
Stop it. If you buy a stock, okay, and that's it. You made a boo-boo. You made a boo-boo. The damn thing is just going down. You're not going to cut your losses?
Yeah.
That's it. Finished. Yeah. You don't have to wait till it hits 0.
If they're able to support themselves and pay for it, then they can do whatever they want.
But to put this responsibility
on everyone else,
so the pharmaceutical companies can get rich. Come on.
But they deserve to get rich because they're creating something to help us.
They'll do it as long as it's worth their while.
I got you. But they deserve...
and so far it seems to be worth their while.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's all. But at some point, there are going to be too many people because the whole genetic system changed. Like today, diabetes is a tremendous illness, and it complicates every other illness somebody gets. Right. In other words, if you're a diabetic and all of a sudden you have a heart problem, your heart problem just square rooted. It just got like 100 times worse than it was. Because diabetics, their bodies are different and the blood is different. Everything is different. And it's just a big issue.
But you see how widespread diabetes is. Why do we have to give any of them medicine?
And you know why we have diabetes.
Yeah, maybe we should pay for everyone to eat healthier so they don't get diabetes.
But you know why we really have it?
Why?
Is because in the 50s, they did not require places like McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and all these places to meet a certain minimum standard. And they let them do whatever they want.
Today
they can't change it anymore. That's it. We're all hooked on it. That's it.
I'm sure they're getting rid of trans fat.
That's it. Big deal.
By the way, that reminds me,
trans fat. The whole thing is
it's very simple. Until healthy food is cheaper than fast food, people will eat bad for you.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
That's it. You drive down the street. I mean, if I didn't keep kosher, I'd weighed 1,000, and it's ridiculous. You drive down the street, you see the family feast at KFC.
Right.
It's like 20 pieces of chicken for like $20.
What? Right.
You get a salad maybe for that otherwise.
Right.
Ridiculous.
But did you see that Oprah Winfrey?
Is that the extra deep fried one?
Extra.
By the way,
they fry it and they fry it again a second time.
Oprah Winfrey went on the Weight Watchers diet. She lost a lot of weight. She's
gained it back now, right?
No. They say she lost it again. She became very skinny.
Yeah.
But she liked it so much, the company. She is trying to buy 10% of the company. She put another $43 million.
She could afford it.
Hey, she's a billionaire, right? Yeah. Is she a billionaire?
Yeah.
Or a couple of $100 million now?
Billionaire. Billion.
Isn't that great?
And look where she came from.
Where did she come from?
She came from the streets of wherever, Chicago,
or something like that. Yeah.
She was molested. She was abused. She was this. She was that. And look the way she did it. Why she's not out there advocating in every black community? Come on, guys, pull yourselves up and get working. Look, I did it. You can do it. And that's what she should be doing. You know, Bill Cosby used to do that, but until they found out that he's a pervert and he's all nuts.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the real
pervert,
truth.
No evidence, no conviction, no crime, no indictment, no nothing.
You certainly have 30 or 40 witnesses.
And all these police departments are doing nothing about it.
Right.
Because
he has a lot of money and his lawyers up
he doesn't have that much money that he can stop 34
Bill Cosby is worth how much?
He got enough.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Really?
Got
him also?
Yeah, sure. With his Jello pudding or something.
Right.
Remember?
Okay.
Pudding pops.
I got to tell you, I once went to one of his live shows. Yeah. He was funny as hell.
He was?
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't come across like that.
But he was always advocating, you know, for being not vulgar. Exactly. That's why it's just so. And he was very also.
But that's why you see that
for black people to not commit crime. I mean, it was just the whole thing is.
But that's why you have a lot of people like that. That they all of a sudden find out someone they respect and they trust. And all of a sudden they find out the guy's really a pervert, and that's it, you know. So after a while, if that happens a few times, so your senses will tell you you don't trust until you verify, like Ronald Reagan would say. You know, you can't. Trust has to be earned. It takes time. You can't earn it fast. It doesn't matter, you know. Let's put it this way. Look, me and you, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, it can't happen in a month. Even if I hung out with you all day and this and that, because that's it. It's a different psyche. Finished. You know?
I hate him.
He's been kind of off the news for a little while.
Yeah, they've been keeping him out.
There's much more important things going on now.
What, like Eddie Murphy getting some reward or something?
Yeah.
And they say working.
You know, they say he's very funny, and he didn't go on a live show for 28 years, and they said he killed it.
He's so because he actually retired at like 22.
He didn't retire. You're wrong.
He impersonated Bill Cosby.
He went on movies. He had television appearances.
But he stopped in his early 20s.
Not 20s. Well, how old is he now? He's about 50-something years old.
No.
What are you talking about?
Eddie Murphy.
54.
Really?
54, yeah. I remember him getting on Saturday Night Live.
They said he just impersonated Bill Cosby in his first stand-up in a long time.
Mr.
Funny.
Because, you know, he also had a personal issue, Eddie Murphy.
Right, but he seemed to have settled it. He has a wife and children.
And he had a breakdown, and that's it. And everybody's allowed to have a breakdown and run away, right? And cheat on their wives or become gay or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, everyone has rights, correct.
Okay.
What happened?
I don't know. He ran away.
He wasn't gay.
He was driving in his car.
He was the one that picked up a hooker?
A transvestite.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, what happened?
Murphy?
Yeah.
Oh, it was him.
Yeah.
I think so.
The lady's name or the transvestite was Brown. She became famous for a little bit. She got 15 minutes of fame, made some money and stuff, but she did pretty good.
Yeah. It was him.
Anyways, guys, I want to ask you a question, Neil, okay? Do you remember that big heist? They called it the Lufthansa 70. I just want to ask you a question. I'm not understanding this. I was talking about it today in the car.
Tell us what happened. I don't know about
this. There was a mob
with Joe Pesci.
Right, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So they heisted or they robbed an airplane or a truck from Lufthansa with a couple of $1 million. What was it? $5 million back then in 78. They got away with it scot-free, clean. Now, what is it?
That old man they got.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost 40 years later, 35 years later, and they're now taking him to court. I don't understand how.
It's like that guy from where, Detroit or Baltimore?
Yeah, but
guy Bolger.
But statute of limitations. Hello, statute of limitations.
How long is the statute of limitations?
But there was no murder.
There was
Nobody was killed.
They have like 10 murders.
Hold on, we have a caller, actually.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
What's up, Larry? You're on the air.
Yeah. Hi. Heshy, Neil, and Zev. Earlier in the show, Zev was talking about
Z. We don't know Zev.
There's no Zev.
Sorry.
No problem.
Z, sorry. You were talking about how the so-called news media, which I consider entertainment, is reporting the episode, the Lamar Odom episode, where people took advantage of him for 3 days, keeping him intoxicated so they could rip him off for a lot of his hard-earned money.
No, but he signed in like that. He said they say when he signed in to spend, I forget how many days, for $75,000.
Yeah, he bought like an all-access pass.
They already had the money.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, because the other thing I was going to mention is right around now, you've been talking about Cosby getting girls intoxicated so he could take advantage of them. That's what the news media reports. Cosby getting people intoxicated so he can take advantage of them. I thought that this resort got Lamar Odom intoxicated. So
I believe
this is a brothel.
I know it's a brothel.
He paid for this.
He paid for it, but there's also extras and extra
charges. No extras. It was all inclusive, 24 hours.
Not the drugs. Not the drugs.
Well, then he got on his own. They don't sell drugs.
They don't supply.
They gave him a bunch. What happened was
with your own.
He took a lot of like herbal supplements, like herbal Viagra, and it reacted to the cocaine.
Oh, a complication.
It reacted to the cocaine. Trust me, you do cocaine, you're gonna
knock out. You gotta buy the good stuff. I always tell everyone.
A lot of this stuff. People don't realize these herbal supplements. They have the same stuff that you could find in real Viagra. And doctors warn you, not to take it. If you have heart problems, it causes low blood pressure. And when you mix that with the cocaine,
it's not regulated.
I'm reading on it right now. He paid $75,000 for 24-hour-a-day companionship from 2 women.
For how many days?
Hold on.
3 or 4?
A long amount of time.
Yeah, like 4 days or something.
Yeah.
He went to party. He went to check out a
5-day package.
A 5-day package, $75,000.
Seems like a good deal to me.
24 hours a day service.
Yeah, so it wasn't a lap dance kind of thing.
No, it wasn't a lap dance. I think if you lap danced, he kicked you out of the room. That's not what he was paying $75,000 for.
And like I said, when they thought he might die, I said, listen, if you're going to die, that's how I want to do it.
Oh,
okay. I don't think
that's how I want to go at.
I don't want to go up to God.
In a blaze of drugs and hookers, it's not such a bad way to go.
Not really.
I don't think so. I don't.
Better than the other ways.
What would you rather?
What would you rather? A heart attack?
In the back of shul and
car
on
accident?
Your bench?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or my bed at home.
Yeah. It's
not. It was so they can move you.
Thanks for calling, Larry.
Okay.
Thanks for calling, Larry.
Thanks. They can move you up and down then.
Now, can I ask you a question?
And they can make believe you're alive.
Have you been driving around this crazy traffic the last couple of weeks?
It's always crazy.
I'm not driving around. I decided to use my Uniside.
Yeah. The craziest thing happened. I honked my horn, and everybody just moved out of my way. You should try this sometimes.
So I want to give you a solution, and don't.
Walk everywhere. It's faster.
Listen,
stand back.
Freaking New York.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute, okay? Now they wanted to toll and tax cars more. I have a simple solution. In Oslo,
what do they want to do? They want to attack.
Woman, let me just tell you. You know Oslo, the capital of Norway. No, they want to also toll you if you travel over 34th Street. If certain areas you have to pay toll.
Right.
Oh God, they tried this years ago.
Greenfeld. Thank God he lost it. Anyways, the capital of Norway is a place called Oslo.
Yeah.
And Oslo made a rule right now that they will be car free by the year 2019. Oslo plans to ban all cars from the city within the next 4 years in an attempt to help reduce pollution, of course.
How many people live there?
Capital cities, including Paris, have previously placed temporary bans on cars, and others, including London, Madrid, and
it didn't work.
Right, of course, right. But it's the first time that a capital city is seeking such comprehensive ban. Shop owners worried that it will harm their business. I believe not. I believe that I'm sure there'll be the buses that will keep running, the public transportation, the taxis will be able to run. Maybe not car taxis, but it will be more like
electric human taxi. Maybe, you sit on their shoulders.
Maybe electric taxis.
Bring back the rickshaw.
The point is you wipe out all cars in the city of New York whatsoever. Okay, and there are two main boroughs.
It sounds great, but how are you going to get around?
Normal stuff. What are we going for the biggest thing, the hardest thing? Why can't we just like have clean streets, cops that just do their jobs, and firemen that are nice and they don't steal every time they walk into a fire?
Let's focus on that instead of these radical. That's
crazy. It's
at the end of the day, the easiest way to
not all firemen are thieves. I get it, but it's known to have happened. And just like these undercover cops that bust these drug dealers, it's known to have happened where a little bit ends up in their pocket. Okay, let's not BS. Okay,
well, most cops are good. Okay,
right.
Most cops don't really want to give you a ticket. They have no choice if you're really bad.
There's a quota.
It's not only the quota, but they see you. You know, lately what I've seen is that the police officers are listening to your complaints or your excuses, and they see that if you messed up and you admit you messed up, they can let you go.
That makes them judge and jury. I don't like that.
Judge and jury.
Yes.
They asked you for an excuse. Okay, they're not finding you guilty. They're gonna say, "Listen, I don't want to put you through the trouble. What happened?" So then, why do they ask you what your story is? Why were you on the phone? Why were you speeding? Because you tell them. If you tell them I'm running to the hospital,
because they want to write it in their book. So when they come to court, they have what you say.
I'm sure if you were running to a funeral, okay, and you were speeding, and
I'm always going to funerals,
right? And he pulled you over on the cell phone. You tell him my father just died. I'm running over there right now. The funeral is in 15-20 minutes.
My friend just texted me a cop was just shot on the FDR.
Well, a cop was shot on the FDR. You see why I don't like guns? You see why I don't like guns?
No, but that wasn't a legal gun problem. It was an illegal gun.
If we stop all guns, we won't have illegal guns.
Stop it. You know how stupid that sounds? You go into a grocery, they're not going to shoplift now because it's in a grocery? Of course Hitler took all the guns
what are they
before
saying
the Holocaust.
I don't know. I'm working on it.
Oh, cause I hear. Okay, that's it. I got you, baby. I don't know.
Listen, cops. Listen, they got a target on their back. They do have stress that's beyond belief.
Well, a lot of these cops getting shot are because of the whole incitement of
Right, and it's terrible. Yeah. That part is terrible.
That's another thing.
How come there's no cop shot in my district? No cop shot.
Oh, you feel like you're missing something?
I'm not missing. I'm happy. 66 precinct, no shootings, no cop shootings, no.
Because it could be a bit of a safe neighborhood.
Could be the makeup of the population there is a little bit different than other neighborhoods.
Because we know how to live with our neighbors.
No, you'll let those some of the Hasidim out loose, and you'll see what kind of mess they can turn the place.
Okay, but the point is, we do live in our neighbors. We do like our neighbors.
But the Hasidim are going to go out shooting people?
Well, look what they do in Israel. They make these fires and they throw rocks. They do all kinds of things.
Yeah, I'll take
just like in New York, in Williamsburg, you have the SNEAS police, and they just come smack you around whenever they want, as if they're boss. I can't wait to use my taser gun.
Those are illegal in New York.
I know. I don't care. Okay. Catch me if you can.
Okay, by the way,
no. Today we're telling everybody to go.
Yeah, but can I tell you something? I want to tell you, what's the most craziest, ridiculous sign you ever saw?
Welcome to New York.
Okay, I have a better one.
Welcome to Brooklyn. How sweet it is. That sign makes me so angry.
Let me tell you what I meant.
Who in the history of the world said, "Oh, Brooklyn, I'm so happy to be here"?
When I go to casinos, the most ridiculous sign I see, it says, "If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER." Is that a stupid sign?
No.
Why?
So let's do this. I thought about it.
What's stupid about it?
Okay, I thought about it for a moment. I dialed the number, and when they answered, I said I have an ace and a 6. The dealer has a 7. What do I do? A gambling problem. Wasn't that a funny joke? No,
that was the joke.
I have a gambling problem. Well, I thought you guys were
That's
sure.
not a problem. That's a good hand, actually.
Right, exactly. That was my point, dude.
Hits.
So that's the story there. Okay.
Seinfeld.
Okay, that was a good joke.
But he has good hand.
Oh, you have to have hands, right? And you're gonna need it.
By the way, next week.
That's such a good one.
Neil, next week we have. She wasn't feeling well.
Okay, yeah. Make sure she's feeling well next week. How old is this one?
I'm sure she's a married woman with a lot of children, so she must be
like 14.
Oh gosh.
What are you talking about, Yael?
Yael.
She's young. She's in her 30s.
Okay, 30s. Into what young? She's smart. Anyways, everybody, thank you for listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show. I want to give you my parting quote for the night.
Hurry.
And here we go. This is a great one, Neil. I want you to hear it. The only way to have a friend is to be one. And here's the best part of it, part 2. Don't find fault. Find a remedy. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next week between 7 and 9 p.m. Thank you, our sponsors. Have a good night. Speak to you soon.